Hey guys, this is your trainer Anirudh Chhillar. So I'm back with another video of EIGRP. I hope you're learning in a good way and in good pace. Let's go.
Route, all of them will be available again in the routing table. Now I want to filter external prefixes, only external prefixes. You can also say route map, match, route type, what? And here also if they are coming from OSPF, then you will say type 1 and type 2, because in OSPF you can have type 1 or type 2. That is the functionality of route map, right? So during during OSPF, I'll teach you that how to use this type 1 and type 2. But this time, because in EIGRP we do not have the concept of type 1 and type 2, we are simply having only one type of external prefixes, right? So here I will simply say match route type or external, and then you have to permit all others. So filter permit 11. That's fine. Now router EIGRP 100 say distribute list route map. Name is filter in which direction? In. So this time it will filter all external prefixes. So you can also match your route type. Show IP route. Let me show you. This time there must not be any single external route available here. Is there? Is there any route available, any external route available here? Fine. Apart from it, let's say that I just wanted to filter only those external prefixes which were redistributed from RIP into.
Yes.
Have you understood my point or not?
Yes.
I just want to filter only those external prefixes which were redistributed from RIP into EIGRP. So do one thing. Here in this statement, like you said route map filter deny 10, then you said match route type what? External. Fine. Then also say match source protocol. And again it will use AND operation. Again it will use AND operation. It will filter external but which are redistributed from RIP into EIGRP only. So it will not match, this condition will not match with those routes, with those external prefixes which are redistributed from EIGRP AS200 into AS100, right? That is why still you can have 90s prefixes but 60s prefixes will be filtered out. Hello?
Yes.
And if you want to allow routes redistributed from RIP into EIGRP, but you want to filter out routes redistributed from EIGRP AS200 into AS100. For that purpose, match source protocol, remove it, say match source protocol is what? EIGRP. After making these types of changes, routes redistributed from RIP into EIGRP have arrived, but routes redistributed from EIGRP AS200 into 100 are not available.
जो टैग वैल्यू हमने दो दी थी उसमें दोनों फिल्टर कर दिए थे। अगर उसकी जगह मैट्रिक देते हैं, मैट्रिक दो देते हैं, एक किसी 60 की और
ले लेगा
तो भी दोनों
exactly for both of them.
बट एक बार में सब जब वो मैच करके एक ग्रुप को मैच करेगा तो उसमें उसको क्योंकि मैच भी होगा और मैच नहीं भी होगा, तो कैसे करना?
If you have said matrix, multiple match matrix commands, right? Prefix will come, will check its matrix. If it matches, it will go for next matrix. Does not match, next matrix. Do not match with any matrix, then we'll go for the next statement now.
ये वही रूप से मैच भी हो रहा है, मैच नहीं भी होगा
क्यों?
क्योंकि हमने दो दिए हैं।
हाँ तो क्या हुआ? मैं वही तो कह रहा हूँ, पहले फर्स्ट मैट्रिक्स से मैच कराएगा, then it will go for next matrix, then it will go for next matrix. Exactly.
तो एक्चुअली जो हमने दो दिए हैं तो
But ultimately, you are saying match metric multiple times. You are not saying match metric and match tag. If you are saying two different things, match metric and match tag, then it will use AND operation. And if you are saying match metric only, match metric, it will use OR operation.
match metric or do match tag?
For match metric only, it will use OR operation. In between match metric and match tag, it will use AND operation.
So there will be 4 combinations.
Of course.
And out of those, if anyone matches, it will get more.
But match tag and metric must match.
और वो मैट्रिक्स के अंदर प्लस माइनस वाला दे दिया, उसके अंदर भी ऐसा ऑप्शन है कि मतलब जिस अपन ने कैलकुलेट किया था तो फिर दोनों ही मैच हो जाएंगे.
Any problem in the uses of route map to perform route filtering in EIGRP? So we have all these things inside the route map. If any one of you are having any problem, please let me know. Otherwise, we can go for next topic now.
There is a limit. There is a limit in this match.
Limit. How many match commands? No, there is no limit. But there are very few commands available under match. It's not like that you can match everything.
Those match commands, how many there is?
There is nothing like, okay, you can match, you can put 10 match commands or 5 match commands. There is nothing like that. Understood? You can match only these things. Fine. So if you are having any problem, please let me know. Route filtering is done now. Yes, it is done. We do not have anything left in route filtering in EIGRP now. We have performed route filtering with using all methods. Fine. Next topic is going to be now summarization. Summarization is done, right? Default route. How to generate default route in EIGRP. And you have already learned that how to generate default route in RIP, right? In RIP, I taught you different methods. So in same manner, we are also having things available in EIGRP too. But in EIGRP, there are 3 methods to generate default route. 1, summarization. 2nd, redistribution. 3rd, IP default network. IP default network. Let's again assume that switch 2 is connected with an ISP, and let's assume this switch 4 is working as an ISP. So on switch 2, what can we do? We are on switch 2. On switch 2, configure a static default route, IP route. And then move inside EIGRP. So redistribute. Once you will configure this command on R5, now you must get this default route. Not only on R5, on all devices. You see, it was there. You can even move on switch 3 as well, which is the edge router as device here in this diagram. So you are already having gateway of last resort, and if you are having gateway of last resort, it means you are having default route. Fine. This is that how can we generate default route in EIGRP with using redistribution. If you don't want to use redistribution, let's say you do not have static default route available in the routing table of sys2. Let's say BGP is running in between sys2 and sys4. I mean between ISP and sys2. So now it is not possible for you to redistribute BGP into EIGRP. sys2 is having very good hardware configuration. So sys2 is having like 10,000 routes available, or 20,000 or 50,000 or 1 lakh routes available inside the BGP table. But it's not possible for you to redistribute this BGP into EIGRP, so that all other lane users can also communicate, can also access internet, right? So it's not possible for you guys to perform redistribution from BGP into EIGRP. What will you do now? You can create a default route in EIGRP from sys2, so that all other devices will keep on to receive, or will start to receive this default route coming from the direction of sys2. It's not it. So in same as RIP, we can also generate here default route, like with the help of summarization here. On sys2, you do one thing. We know very well that on sys2, this FA0x1 is going in the direction of R5 and all other routers in this routing domain, right? So move on sys2, and on sys2, on its FA0x1, also IP summary address EIGRP 100 and then 000 000. IP summary address EIGRP 100 000. It will generate a summary address as default route. I mean, you can say it will generate a default route as summary address. So it will be having this route in its own routing table, but towards now. Then after, it will also be responsible to give this information to but this time its AD value is what? 90. Previously its AD value was 170 when you redistributed your static route into EIGRP. Because your default route was coming as external route. That is why its AD value was 170, but this time its AD value have become 90 because it is coming as internal route because of summarization, right? So in this way also you can generate a default route in EIGRP. This is that how can you generate default route with the help of route summarization in EIGRP.
अब जो ये रूट आएंगे आज सिस्टम पे कुछ भी तो ये राउटिंग टेबल चेक करेगा, अगर सुपर जितने हो जाए तो इसमें सीधा ट्रांजिशन में डाल देगा। जो सिस्टम है अगर R5 में कोई IP एड्रेस लिखे 4.2.2, ठीक है, सिस्टम पे चेक करेगा, सिस्टम अपनी राउटिंग टेबल में चेक करेगा, और अगर नहीं है तो सीधा नल 0 में डाल देगा। सिंपल। तो इंटरनेट कैसे एक्सेस कर पाएगा? वो बाहर के ISP के एंड पे कैसे जा सकता है?
Does your sys2 not have any route in the direction of ISP? I have already told you that BGP is running in between sys2 and ISP. So sys2 is having all routes available, all prefixes available in its routing table individually. And in that condition also, like if you are saying that okay, if you do not configure, try to understand now. If you do not configure BGP in between sys2 and sys4, let's say BGP is not running there. Let's say you configured a static default route in the direction of sys4. So if you configure it statically, its AD value will be 1, and for summary address, if it configure it towards null 0, its AD value will be 5. So which one will be preferred? Any problem? Didn't get. See, there would be only two things. Either BGP will be running in between ISP and customer, or there will be a static default route at the end of customer in the direction of ISP. So in both cases, we do not have any problem.
अगर switch 4 पे जितने भी रूट्स हैं वो पूरे switch 2 पे सारे आ जाएंगे। अगर कुछ रूट्स नहीं है, for example जो ISP है।
Okay, let's do one thing. Some routes are not present on sys2, right? And you didn't configure this null entry. We can remove it. Will it be really possible for sys2 to transmit the traffic in the direction of ISP now? Then where is the concern of that entry which is configured in the routing table of sys2 towards null 0? Where is the participant of that entry? If switch2 itself is not having that route available inside its own routing table, then how is it gonna to be possible for switch2 to switch data for those prefixes in the direction of ISP? You know very well that routers can switch data only for those prefixes, only for those destinations for which it is having routes inside its own routing table. That's the primary operation of routers. Tell me. And of course, if switch2 do not have any route to reach internet, to reach your destination network, then of course it must be forwarded, that traffic must be forwarded in the direction of null interface. That will be good for you because your device will drop that traffic.
Bandwidth doesn't.
Fine. Third option is with using IP default network. So let's do one thing, move on switch2 once again, and that you configure here your summary address. So remove that summary address from here.
तो जैसे आप ये जो ये स्विच टू है, इस पर हम कुछ ऐसा कॉन्फ़िगर कर सकते हैं कि फॉर एग्जांपल 500 रूट्स है, बट मैं चाहता हूँ कि नहीं, ठीक है, जो फर्स्ट 100 रूट्स हैं वही मेरे राउटिंग टेबल में आ जाए. अगर स्विच टू है उसकी हार्डवेयर कैपेसिटी इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, बट हाँ इट्स गुड. तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि अगर आईएसपी 5000 है तो स्विच टू पे सिर्फ 1000 आ जाए. ऐसे कुछ है क्या?
Namaste. What are we learning here? What are we learning here now in this class? EIGRP. Will you ever configure EIGRP in between ISP and customer? Have I ever said, have I ever given this statement that you will configure EIGRP in between ISP and customer? What will you configure? BGP. So it will be better for us to think about these things during BGP only. Still BGP is left.
वो ISP कर सकता है वैसे.
Have you understood it all? Okay, so this time again switch2 is not originating any default route. So that means if you move on R5 you will not get any default route. You see, gateway of last resort was not set, right? So in EIGRP you are also having another method by which you can generate a default route in EIGRP, which is with using IP default network command, right? So for that purpose, what can we do here on switch2? First of all, check that is switch2 having any classful network. Show IP interface brief. I don't think so that it is having any classful network here. So do one thing, create another loop back and allocate a classful network. Let's say I have allocated 10.1/24. So this is a classful network, right? And advertise it into the EIGRP. Say network 191.68.10.0. So it will get advertised into EIGRP now. And remember that if you are going to define any network as a default network, make sure that it is a classful network. So this time, because on switch2 we have advertised it, right? So switch2 will give it to R5 and R5 will advertise it further for other the direction of all other devices here. So you can find that 192.168.10.0 available here on switch on R5 as well as on other devices as well. Like if you move on switch3, then on switch3 too you will find this network available. Now do one thing, move again on switch2. This is customized router. So here configure this command IP default network 192.168.10.0. Once you will configure this command IP default network 192.168.10.0, now look at its own routing table first of all. In front of 192.168.10.0, it is directly connected, but along with directly connected, it is having this star. And the meaning by star is what? Candidate of default route. Candidate of default network. So whenever it will advertise it towards its neighbors, this specification will always be carried forward within the EIGRP updates now. So if you move on R5 now, check its routing table. Gateway of last resort is there, and if you look at this prefix, it is, star is mentioned over there. If a star is mentioned, it means it is kind of default route now. So if R5 don't have destination network's information for any packet, then it will forward those packets in the direction of this next hop 58.8, because this network is working as a default network, and this default network is coming from 58.8. so this router will transmit all unknown packets in the direction of this network only, I mean in the direction of sys2. So it is also working as a default route. Hello, star means is what? If you are having any confusion, please let me know. It will never show you default route available inside the routing table, right? But it will be using this network as a default network now. As you can see, candidate default.
And why we took only classful network?
This is the, you can say, like condition for EIGRP, that if you are going to advertise any network as a default network, then it must be a classful network, because if you are using classless networks means that there will not be any specific subnet. Because if you are using classless, it means some of the IP addresses will be in use here on this router, some of the IP addresses will be used on any other router. So how will it be possible for you to define that?
So it will be working as a default route only for
Exactly.
routers, irrespective of the fact that it's from 192 to 168 range.
How?
If one of those routers has to send a traffic to ISP
Yeah,
and it doesn't have any route,
exactly.
then it will use
This network as a default network.
even though the IP address of that network of the ISP.
Exactly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's why I'm saying that it is using this network as a default network now. So it doesn't mean that it will be able to transmit packets which are destined towards 192.168.10.0 only. If we are thinking like that, it means what is the necessity to configure this network as a default network? Because it could have transmit packets in the direction of this subnetwork 10.0 without configuring this network as a default network as well. I get my point? So right now, after configuring this network as a default network, it will be using it as a default route. Fine? That's okay.
EIGRP में default originator का ये
There is no command of like RIP. Yeah. And OSP, because both of them are open standard. That's why they are having similar commands. In EIGRP, we do not have that command. Router EIGRP 100, like default information originate, nothing. The only thing is default information in, and then access first. Right now you can receive default route from any neighbor. I got a point or not? In EIGRP by default you can receive default route coming from any neighbor, but if you want to restrict it, then you can use this command. I got a point? That for an example, this time R3 can receive this default route coming from R1, coming from R5, coming from R2 as well. But let's say that I want to configure this R3 to receive this default route information from R5 only. Then I can use this command here. Even we can also specify that, okay, default information should be propagated out for these neighbors only. That is why here you are having these things. And only standard ACLs are there, not extended, because extended will not be in use, because you just need to specify your source. Isn't not it? That is why there is no use of extended ACL, and you do not have that option as well. I get your point. So there is nothing like the conditional default route, reliable conditional default route, nothing like that in EIGRP. So that is also done in EIGRP now, that how to originate a default route. Apart from it, by default you must remember that EIGRP can use up to 50% of available bandwidth for its own uses. And if you want to change this criteria, then you can move on any device, on any interface like IP bandwidth percent, EIGRP 100, I mean AS number, and then percentage. Like I want to use only 10% of the available bandwidth, and you can specify 10. So if it is mentioned in question that you have to configure your interface in this manner so that EIGRP will be able to use its 10% of the available bandwidth only.
Will it affect the convergence and speed if we reduce
Nothing. On high speed interfaces it will not affect it. But if you are having slow links like 64 kbps, in that case it can affect your convergence as well. So in this way you can change it. Then after it, let me show you stuck in active state now. Stuck in active, right? To see that, what will I do here? First of all, let me do one thing on switch 2. Fine, on switch 2 everything is fine now. Are you getting my point? Now I'm going to capture this link, and I'm not assuming it as Sky ISP now. I'm assuming it as now switch 4 itself. Let me show you that query will be generated by device if any successor goes down. So let's set down the loopback of R5. If we shut down the loopback of R5, switch 2 successor will go down for the lane network of R5. Then switch 2 is also having neighborship with switch 4. So biggest on switch 2 its successor will go down, it will become active, and will send a query message in the direction of switch 4. Are you getting my point or not? Because switch 2 do not have any feasible successor for it. Even you can move on switch 2 and you can check topology table for that specific prefix. Show IP EIGRP topology 150.1.5.0 is subnet mask. It does not have any feasible successor. Does it have? No. So now you do one thing, move on R5 and let's shut down its loopback 0. Shut it down. So let me show you that this query has been generated by switch 2, and see, acknowledgement is also coming in respect of an acknowledgement is always unicasted. Query was multicasted. Then query has also been generated by, are you getting my point or not?
Yeah.
By switch 4 as well. Acknowledgement is there. Reply is also generated by switch 2, and reply is also generated by
Switch 4.
and in this reply you see generated by switch 4. Metric is what? Delay is the highest one, scaled bandwidth is 0, and you see nothing. It will define its metric as unreached, the maximum. That is, it means does not have any information about it, right? You see, nothing. Tell me. So this time it have got this reply message that okay, I do not have any information for it. Even in query also you can open it. This query was generated by switch 2, and let me show you that what was the content, or what were the contents of this query message. You see, delay is what? Highest one, and bandwidth is 0 minimum. It means its metric will become highest one. It means it has gone Down. Hello? You guys, you guys are getting this point or not? So in this way, they have generated, and you see route was active. Fine. Now let me do one thing. Once again, they will keep on to send hello packets to each other. Let me stop it once, and let me start it once again. Wait. On R5, let me do one thing, say shutdown, sorry, no shutdown, so that it will give this update to its neighbor now. That okay, this route have came up now, right? And you know very well that how can we configure this switch 4 so that switch 4 will not give any reply message to switch 2. Do one thing. Let's do one thing. On switch 4, I will change its hold down interval. But in reality, on switch 2 it will take place. So now, what can I do? I will create one ACL on switch 2 and will drop all incoming EIGRP based packets. It will not break neighborship because it has to do it for that much time. And stuck inactive, active timer is what? 3 minutes. We will see. It will wait for 3 minutes, but then after 3 minutes it will reset your neighborship. It will reset your neighborship automatically. Hey, that's the operation performed by stuck in active state, right? So this time do one thing, move on switch 2, create one access list, extended ACL, deny, EIGRP any, and then access list 101 permit, IP any. So FA0x0 IP access group 101 in which direction? It will start to drop all EIGRP based packets, all of them. So IP access list. Understood? But it will not break neighborship because we configured that much hold down timer. And now what will I do? I'll start this capturing. And then again, I'll move on R5 and I will once again shut down it. It will get query messages. It will also send query, but this time you see that reply is given by, is given by switch 4, but these packets will be dropped by switch 2, and switch 2 will not get even acknowledgement of the query, so it will keep on to send query messages periodically. You see, queries are still generated by switch 2 because it is not getting any acknowledgement. Switch 2 is not getting any acknowledgement. Now you move on switch 2, show IP ICRP neighbor. Queue count is there because it's not getting any acknowledgement from there, right? But the thing is, show IP route 150.1.5.0 is still there. Via 58.5. Still it is having it inside its routing table, but if you check its topology table, show IP ICRP topology 150.1.5.0 245.245.245.0. Check its topology table now. What is it saying? Route state is what?
Active.
It has sent query messages, but it is waiting for replies from its neighbor. However, metric is highest one. It should have removed it, but it is still waiting for the reply message. Till that, it will keep that route inside its routing table via R5 itself, and it is there. Are you getting my point or not?
Yes.
But it have become active. You see, it's not getting any reply from there, and it is what? Active. Even if you say show IP ICRP topology, it will show you A in front of 150's network. This neighbor is in stuck. SIA stuck, you see.
Yeah, one floor.
After completion of 3 minutes, see, now after 3 minutes it will reset this neighborship. Once it will reset this neighborship will go down because we have filtered all EIGRP packets, right? Show IP EIGRP neighbors. Still neighborship is there. You see what is it saying? Cleaning up. And it took 3 minutes. It have broken its neighborship. And this time neighborship is not coming back up. You know why? Because we have already filtered EIGRP packets with the help of that ACR. But I have shown you that after expiration of active timer, it will reset your neighborship. And now it will not be having that route inside its own routing table. Is it there? 5. And this is a problem. So how can we protect our our network? How can we prevent our network from stuck in active states actually? Because it can occur in EIGRP, right? As we saw here. Are you getting my point or not? So you do one thing on FA0 by 0, remove it, and see once again its neighborship will come up. But the thing is, stuck in active state was occurred in your network, and due to that state, neighborship was resetted by EIGRP. But remember, neighborship will be resetted for that neighbor only which has moved into stuck in active state. It will not break neighborship with all neighbors. It will not break EIGRP neighborship with all neighbors. Remember all these things. It will reset neighborship, it will clean neighborship with that neighbor only which has moved into stuck in active state only. Understood? So for today, that's enough.
So that's the end of today's video, guys. So we'll be coming back with few more videos of EIGRP. I hope you learned something new today. So if you like this video, please subscribe my channel. That's @ARC_tutorial. Thank you so much, guys. See you later.